Welcome back. In this episode, we will be discussing part 2 for ADHD. You might not have realized that many of your kids' struggles could be caused by ADHD. It may seem just like a child who's misbehaving. ADHD can leave parents feeling stressed, frustrated, or disrespected. Parents might be worried or embarrassed by their kids' behaviors, wondering what people are going to think, or maybe what they had done to cause it. But for kids with ADHD, the skills that control attention, behavior, and activity don't come naturally.
I'm Kelly Warner. Parenting's a tough job, there's no doubt about it. Parenting a child with ADHD is even harder, so you may need a little extra help. The first step is to figure out what's really going on. At Thrive Behavioral Health in Eugene, child psychiatrist Dr. Jennifer Schumann often diagnoses and treats children who have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, a condition that makes it difficult for young brains to focus.
Another way to describe it to families is just the filter is not there. Whereas somebody without ADHD can sit and talk to somebody and focus on what that person is saying, somebody with ADHD is going to focus on what they're saying, the light coming in from outside, the feeling of the sock on their feet, sounds from outside, and those all have equal priority in their brain.
It's estimated that about 5 to 10% of children ages 4 to 17 have one of 3 types of ADHD.
We have just not able to pay attention ADHD, we have just not able to sit still ADHD, and the more common is a combination of those two.
This inability to focus or sit still often creates disruptions in the classroom and at home and can be frustrating for parents.
It's not that these kids are choosing to be bad, it's that they really have a hard time keeping it together.
When you are emotionally healthy, you can stay calm, which helps your child de-escalate. Keep in mind that many things your ADHD child is doing isn't to be disrespectful. A lot of it is out of his or her control. Ask yourself what's critical, and don't sweat the small stuff. Make sure you're noticing the positive things. Sometimes it's easy to be constantly correcting. Also, make sure you have a team to help. Kids with ADHD are a lot, and you need a village. Take breaks, eat right, and exercise. You will be a better parent because of it. Most kids do better knowing what will happen. In order to do this, follow a routine with bedtime, homework, and mornings. Using clocks and timers help kids learn and put limits on what they're doing. And some kids may also need some help with some transitions as well. Avoid too much idle time. Keep kids busy with a sports or class. But don't give them too much TV and video games, as this can increase ADHD symptoms. However, overscheduling can also cause ADHD kids to get overwhelmed and have a harder time calming at night. Model organization by teaching your child that every single thing has a place in the house, and help them learn to put it in its spot right away. Kids with ADHD have a lot of energy to burn. Physical activity has a long list of benefits. It improves concentration, decreases depression and anxiety, and it promotes brain growth. Most importantly for children with attention deficits, however, is the fact that exercise leads to better sleep, which in turn can also reduce the symptoms of ADHD. While lack of sleep can cause issues for anyone, it is detrimental for kids with ADHD. In fact, kids around 5 years old should be averaging 10 to 11 hours of sleep a night. Kids with ADHD need consistent understanding of what the expectation is and what happens when they're not following it. If it's due to a skill deficit, such as being flexible, they may need help with learning how to handle the skill. Don't forget to notice when they're doing the right thing, even if it's a step in the right direction. While there isn't clear research that food causes ADHD, food can definitely affect his or her mental state, which can then affect behavior. Try to incorporate more fruits and veggies while avoiding sugary foods. Kids with ADHD often struggle making friends. They might have a difficult time reading social cues, talk too much, interrupt, or seem too aggressive or intense. Other ADHD kids will come across charming and will have to learn who is and isn't an appropriate friend. While many only hear people talk about medication as a form of treatment, there are other treatment options available. Supplements, diet, neurofeedback and working memory training, and counseling. As mentioned in the other video, there are other diagnoses that can look like ADHD in regards to inattention and hyperactivity. It helps to think positively when working with your ADHD kid. Here are some thoughts and some self-talk that Dr. Lucy Joe finds helpful for parents. Thanks for watching, and thank you to Help Guide, Kids Health, and AdditudeMag.com.